Welcome to this edition of CBN News Showcase. I'm Charlene Aaron.
And I'm Mark Martin. Medical errors are now the third leading cause of death in the U.S. The British Medical Journal reports that medical errors kill 251,000 people every year. That's more than respiratory diseases, accidents, and strokes. Medical professionals say it's more than having a bad doctor. The survey cites a number of systemic issues that can lead to the death of someone receiving medical care. Researchers add that the study will allow institutions to find ways to improve and prevent medical errors.
A government panel recently recommended some people take an aspirin a day to help prevent cardiovascular disease and colon cancer. That adds more fuel to the fiery debate over the benefits of aspirin and some other pain relievers. As Lori Johnson reports, for some people, they may do more harm than good.
Robert Carnes is fine now, but not long ago he panicked when he thought he was having a heart attack because his family needs him.
The chest pains were pretty bad and they were really scary.
As it turns out, he wasn't having a heart attack. His chest pains were caused by ulcers, brought on by taking an over-the-counter pain reliever he regularly picked up at the corner drugstore for sinus problems.
That surprised me. I had no clue.
The type of pain reliever Robert took is called an NSAID, short for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. NSAIDs include naproxen like Aleve, ibuprofen like Motrin and Advil, and aspirin. NSAIDs are responsible for a reported 16,000 deaths each year and 100,000 hospitalizations from things like kidney failure, heart attack, stroke, and ulcers.
So really everybody's at risk, but the people who are really at the greatest risk are those who may be taking other medications that could also interfere with the stomach. Say someone who's on a blood thinning medicine, people who are on steroids for other medical diseases, the elderly, people who are hospitalized, have other stresses on their intestinal system, can also be at much higher risk than the general population.
Dr. Daniel Newman says Robert was wise to seek help right away and advises everyone to talk to their doctor about all the medications they're taking, even over-the-counter ones. Discuss how much you're taking, how often, and any unusual symptoms.
Develop a change in the color of your stool, black, tarry bowel movements. You start to have vomiting or nausea, you're throwing up stuff that looks like coffee, black coffee ground-like material. Even in the absence of pain, this could be a sign of intestinal bleeding, and stop that medication and notify your doctor right away.
The good news is many of us can reduce painful inflammation a different way without taking an NSAID, by switching to an anti-inflammatory diet. One that's low in sugar, white carbohydrates like bread and pasta, trans fats, also known as hydrogenated oils, industrialized vegetable oils, and chemical food additives. These highly inflammatory items are found in abundance in processed foods. On the other hand, anti-inflammatory foods are ones that are in their original state, including unrefined fats like fish oil, coconut oil, and olive oil, raw nuts, avocados, and lots of colorful fruits and vegetables. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
In other news, President Obama is preparing to designate the Stonewall Inn in New York as the first national monument dedicated to gay rights. The tavern in Greenwich Village was the site of a 1969 uprising that is widely viewed as the start of the gay rights movement. Federal officials are scheduled to hold a listening session Monday in New York to get feedback. President Obama is prepared to recognize the Stonewall Inn as early as next month to commemorate Gay Pride.
Target's new transgender bathroom policy is getting some backlash from consumers and on social media. Recently, the store said customers and employees can use the restroom or fitting room that corresponds with their gender identity. Customer surveys from two separate research firms show Target's reputation has since fallen dramatically.
You have man parts, you go to a man bathroom, and if you have lady parts, you go to a lady bathroom.
Some analysts believe the controversy will blow over, but more than 1 million people have signed a boycott petition from the American Family Association. The group says that Target's policy is, quote, exactly how sexual predators get access to their victims.
Evangelist Franklin Graham is urging Christians to vote and to run for political office. Graham made the comments in Nashville Tuesday on his Decision America 50-state tour. He asked the crowd of nearly 9,000 people to confess the nation's sins, including abortion and the legalization of gay marriage. Graham also challenged them to consider running for public office because politicians today are unwilling to stand up for biblical values. Graham left the Republican Party last year and now declares himself an independent. He says he places no hope in political parties, but believes that God can still save the United States.
I love this story right here. The entire Bible is being read out loud nonstop at the heart of the nation's capital this week. Volunteers took turns reading scripture at the podium day and night until this past Thursday, the National Day of Prayer. And here are some highlights from this 27th annual Bible Marathon.
The counsel of the Lord standeth forever, the thoughts of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom he hath chosen for his own inheritance. The Lord looketh from heaven, he beholdeth all the sons of men. I have a burden for our nation, for our nation's capital. And a number of years back, we got acquainted with the National Bible Reading Marathon. It is an opportunity to lift up the Word of God, the truth of God's Word, as well as exercise our First Amendment liberty.
The nation is so divided on so many levels. We found that all these different denominations coming together in unity to read the Bible, we're hoping that the world will look at us and realize that the precepts of God, the precepts this great nation was based on, is what we need to get back to. So we're just allowing God's written word to take precedent over 90 hours.
我们攻击敌人，因为人的帮助是万然的。我们倚靠上帝，从他，我要从地极求告你，求你领我到那。
I'm just honored to be here, honored to be in this nation, honored to call his name. There is no God but him, so it is an honor to be here. I've been here for 29 years. This is the first year I'm reading it as a citizen of US. So it's an honor. It's an honor. The Lord is good in all he's doing. He's an amazing God.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge.
If you want to see the future of banking and your money, it's right on your cell phone. The idea is to make it easy for you to deal with your finances from anywhere, at any time. Caitlin Burke brings us that story.
The banking industry is bracing for change thanks to the all-powerful digital revolution.
The financial technology, or fintech, is really changing the way fundamentally that customers interact with their bank.
Banking expert Rob Morgan says customers expect the same type of digital access to banking as they get with other important services.
Take a second to think about it. I can get my mail on here, order dinner, even hail a cab. And now, thanks to financial technology, I can also access my money.
In terms of banks and non-banks in the space, there are a number of players. And really, banks are looking pretty actively to partner in the space. So banks are looking, and as are these new companies, to work together to deliver the customer the best experience.
Apple, Google, Amazon, the tech giants are all on board. Most are starting off with digital payment apps.
They believe that this modernization of the banking sector is going to make financial services more accessible, more affordable, and ultimately more secure.
Brian Peters is with Financial Innovation Now, an organization that represents Apple, Amazon, Google, Intuit, and PayPal.
I think whenever you have a little bit of competition and a little bit of change, it's tough. People need a little bit of time to accommodate. But this change is coming. It's coming quickly. It's here now. And we're here to help policymakers understand why this is good for consumers.
While they may be a little late to the party, major banks have entered this new reality.
You see banks all across the spectrum investing in things like innovation labs, where they're delivering these new products directly to customers.
While banks are competing in this space, they face an uphill battle. According to the Harris research firm, 77% of consumers have a positive impression of the tech industry, compared to 35% who feel good about the financial industry.
We see a lot of partnerships. So it could be characterized as a big battle between Wall Street and Silicon Valley. But at the end of the day, we actually see a lot more nuance. There will be some skirmishes, and we're going to have a great, robust discussion about how to enable this technological future. But we're excited about it.
Those skirmishes seem to be taking the shape of regulations. The tech industry wants breathing room for young startups, while the banking industry believes its new competitors should follow the same rules that it does.
Today, there are a lot of rules and regulations in place that provide protections for consumers. And you need to make sure that those protections are being applied equally across the board.
We're hopeful that policymakers can find ways to minimize some of the early regulatory impact that they may face so that they can at least get off the ground, prove their business model, and actually bring something to market.
Security is a major concern of consumers when it comes to these new digital financial services. But Peter says your cell phone will eventually provide better protection of your information than a debit or credit card.
When you think about making a payment or storing financial information on your smartphone, that smartphone is encrypted in a variety of ways. To gain access to it on the later models now, you have to use biometric fingerprint authentication. Because of all that additional security, you have now both greater convenience and greater security. That didn't exist before.
Some of the most popular new services include Venmo, Google Wallet, and Apple Pay. They allow you to transfer money and buy products without ever stepping into a bank or pulling out your credit card. This especially appeals to the millennial generation. According to Viacom Media, 73% of millennials prefer using digital services than going to a bank.
I think you can use your smartphone for everything. I use my Venmo app, I use my Bank of America app, just everything can be done on my phone, which is great.
My bank doesn't have any physical locations. I really do all of mine on my phone.
But it's not millennials who stand to gain the most from this technology.
There is a proportionally bigger opportunity to help older generations, because if you can't get around very easily, if you're in a small town where the bank branch is far away, managing your finances can be tough.
I recently got my grandfather hooked on taking care of some of his finances digitally.
Hi, Poppy.
Hey, babe.
A few visits ago, I set you up with some new ways to do your banking. Why were you interested in doing your banking digitally?
Well, it seemed to be convenient and fast. Also, it seemed to be cheap, no stamps, no envelopes. And the security was good because it has had two passwords, one to get into the smartphone and one to get in the account. So all of those reasons, and they all proved out, too. I find out all the time that there's new things that I can apply and play with, and it's fun and it's also interesting.
Despite battles on Capitol Hill, both the banks and tech industry agree that ultimately the consumer will be the winner. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
Country music star Dolly Parton is a legend around the world. She has written some 3,000 songs, but her favorite is called Coat of Many Colors. The song is also the beginning of her life story and now a made-for-TV movie. Ephraim Graham recently sat down with Parton to discuss her movie and her remarkable career.
Dolly Parton is the hardest working and the most honored female country music artist of all time. And the only with her own amusement park and roller coaster.
It's the fastest wooden roller coaster. It goes like 73 miles an hour, which is quite a bit for a wooden roller coaster, but it covers a lot of territory. But we've got a lot of wonderful things at Dollywood, and it's called Lightning Rod, and that's our new addition.
Now, do you ride Lightning Rod?
No, I don't ride any of them with this hair and with all my stuff. Not good.
Dolly's real life has been a bit of a remarkable rising roller coaster. She is the fourth of 12 children. Her parents, Robert Lee and Avi Lee, struggled to make ends meet in the poor hills of East Tennessee, not too far from where her theme park now stands.
Well, you do have a colorful way with words, Miss Dolly.
Oh, thank you, Miss Moody. So do you.
The humble childhood story is now a movie, Coat of Many Colors. And its success on NBC inspired Parton to now release it on DVD.
Miss Parton, front and center.
What'd I do?
Not you, sweet Stella Mae. You. Since you were so interested in talking during your essay test, you can be the first one to read yours aloud. All right, now, Dolly, please tell us who your favorite famous person is and why you admire them.
Why, that's easy, Miss Nudie. It's Miss Dolly Parton, rising star of the Grand Ole Opry. She was born on a cold winter's night in Locust Ridge, Tennessee. She was singing before she could talk.
Hard to believe that Dolly Parton, icon, country music singer, actress, came from such humble beginnings.
Well, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, because people like me have to come from somewhere.
Dolly first told the story in a song.
Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of.
That's still her very favorite today.
I've always been really proud of my family and my mom and my dad, and I really wanted to really pay them the respect that I think they deserve. So I wanted it to be more about them than it really was about me.
No one has seen her since she lost that baby. Well, she looks just awful. Peaked, just terrible. Well, who wouldn't? 8 kids already? They can't feed the family they have now. What is wrong with Lee Parton? Same thing you wish your husband would catch. You know, God took that little baby just as sure as this world. I'd say it's a blessing in disguise.
How could the taking of an innocent ever be a blessing?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Abby Lee.
It's a beautiful love story between your mom and dad and overcoming difficulty. My wife and I have lost a child pretty much the same way, so I identify with that. How would you describe their love story?
My mama never loved anybody but my daddy in her whole life. I don't think he ever loved anybody else but her. They married. Mom was just 15 and Daddy was 17. You know, my daddy, he was a handsome man. My mom was always a little bit jealous, just like we showed in the movie. She was always afraid. But she was a beautiful woman. Mama had a very good heart. They were good parents, but their love story was beautiful. And so Mama never looked any way besides. She'd choose Daddy over us, and she loved us better than anything, if that'll give you any truth.
You are approaching 50 years of marriage yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Are they the example for you and your husband?
My husband always loved my dad and my mom, but I think my husband and my relationship really just was a godsend, because God knew I was going to need somebody like him if I was going to be doing all this crazy stuff. But he knew he was going to need somebody like me, you know, because Carl's very much a loner, and he doesn't really want to be with anybody but me.
Nosy Entertainment reports have counted only about 20 public photographs of Carl Dean and Dolly together since they sneaked across the state line in 1966 and tied the knot in Georgia to keep the announcement out of the Tennessee papers.
We've been together 52 years in May, but we've been married 50. He's always been for me. He's always been supportive, but he doesn't try to get into the business. He's always said, just leave me out of that. I'm not going to any of these shindigs. I'm not doing any of that.
At 70, Dolly's shindigs aren't slowing down, picking up the Tex Ritter Award for the Coat of Many Colors film, performing with pop star Katy Perry, and pushing forward with a tour. You are getting ready to tour 60 cities, I'm reading. Are you up for that?
I'm ready. I'm all for it. Actually, I love touring. I live on my bus. I don't stay in hotels. I don't have to fly, so I don't wear myself out with that. I got all my things on the bus. I love to travel. I'm a gypsy. I never got over that. I've always loved going.
Now, you started singing in your grandfather's church. He was a minister. How vivid are those memories today?
Oh, very vivid. I keep all that stuff very close to my heart. I mean, I grew up knowing Jesus loved me, and I knew that through God all things were possible. And, you know, I just grew up with those little things that we just heard all the time. My grandpa was a really good preacher. He used to scare me a little bit. He was that hellfire, brimstone kind of preacher. I wrote a song years ago called Daddy Was an Old-Time Preacher Man. It was about him, about my grandpa. Because one of the lines is, he preached hell so hot you could feel the heat. People say, well, I'm surprised that you really talk about, you know, your faith. I said, well, why not? That's who I am. That's what keeps me going.
That faith is what inspires Dolly to write hit songs. She's written more than 3,000.
If I should stay, well, I would only be in your way.
Including this one.
Anytime I'll write something and it's just a line that I know didn't come from me, I just always say, give me a high five, Lord. Give me a thumbs up.
And there's more music and faith-inspired stories from Dolly's life in the works. She signed a deal to produce more movies for NBC. Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Nashville, Tennessee.
You can see more of Ephraim's interview with Dolly Parton on his weekly entertainment show called Studio 5. She told us what led her to write the hit song I Will Always Love You, made popular by Whitney Houston. And you can find that at cbnnews.com.
Operation Blessing has been helping with earthquake recovery in Japan.
That's right. Last month's quake split the ground, destroyed homes, and displaced tens of thousands of people. Since then, Operation Blessing has worked with local churches and volunteers from all over the country to deliver supplies. They also use social media to reach victims. And one tweet was received from a resident on the northernmost part island needing supplies for their kindergarten students. Operation Blessing was able to deliver diapers and hygiene items and connected them with a local church. And you can find out more about Operation Blessing by going to their website at ob.org. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the CBN News Showcase.
Yeah, thanks for watching. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And stay up to date with CBN News through Facebook and Twitter. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a wonderful day.